asking for the kind of attention that you actually desire, that you need, and receiving that, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder than I think most of us realize. If, for whatever reason, you have attention deficiencies, what do I mean by that? I don't mean ADHD. I mean, you were not given a sufficient amount of attention when you were little, and you might not be getting a sufficient amount of attention now. There's a likelihood that most people don't even know this about you, because I might have all sorts of insecurities, shame around asking for the attention that we need, and also really being able to receive it. When I was working this morning on attention, as I want to do, I realized it's often about permeability. So you want an attention that could be very nourishing for you that you didn't get enough of when you were a kid or at some point of your development of being a human. By the way, remember, we're still developing being human. Till the day we die, we're still developing being a human, which is phenomenal. And you didn't get enough, or you didn't get the right kind, or you got a toxic version of it. So it's all wrangled up inside of you. And then you come across a person, a group, a situation that is giving you this attention that you've wanted, and you can't seem to receive it. One of the things is that you don't trust it, probably. You know, you really have some doubts about the authenticity of the attention. And so you're not able to take it in and then metabolize it as nourishment to support you foundationally. This guy has had this issue in several different areas, and I recognize that taking a moment to help the ground of ourselves be able to receive nourishment of attention is really important. And it's one of the reasons why that in some areas I'm in a much different experience around receiving attention. One of the areas that has been the hardest, because it was the area of some of the most violent, horrible abuse, was around my body, was around being desirable authentically, my body. Not my face. My face, I have always had an okay relationship with my face. But my body has been the landscape of a lot of harm being directed to it when I was younger. And self-harm as I took in the negative messages from this culture about being in a body, being in a fat body, being in a body that doesn't quite fit my gender identity. It's not exactly the body I would choose to be the gender person that I am, the gendered full person that I am. So this has been a complicated relationship. What I noticed, though, was that when I would find someone to give me positive affirmation, attention around my body, I often could not accept it. I couldn't receive it. And probably around 2012-ish, I started to do another layer of healing, because I've been doing healing work around this body my whole life. There's never been a moment that I wasn't in that process. And around 2012, I started to consciously try to change how I felt and try to shift the way that I gave attention to my body. And then I really was lucky. I found a woman who was really attracted to my body, like super attracted. I had been asking the universe, the multiverse, can you send me a lover who's just so into my body? Because all my past lovers, they loved me, they loved my body. But for whatever reason, there wasn't this, yeah. And I wanted that kind of attention. I wanted this adoration of my physical form. This not only acceptance, not only appreciation, but devotion to my physical form. In some ways, this is what I give the people that I'm in love with, that I'm in a sexual relationship with. I give them devotion. They don't just get love from me, they get devotion. Because I think the body is glorious. It is a miracle. And that the body is the vessel for this person that I love. And they're connected, by the way. I don't think they're separate. I think you're one creature. Gosh, how can I not give devotion and adoration for the body that contains the being that I love, that is part of the being that I love? See, that bifurcation is still in my head hole. And her attention, her love, her adoration for my physical form kind of was like one of the final things that I needed. So I had done the work of softening the ground to receive the attention that I craved, that I needed, that I wanted, that I didn't get hardly any of growing up appropriately. I got a lot of negative attention. I got a lot of toxic attention for my body. I have PTSD because of it. Woohoo! Trauma! And for whatever reason, this final piece with her, I could receive. I could receive the attention and accept it for kind of one of the first times in my life in a full way. And since I have a different relationship to my body. It's wild. When I wake up in the morning and I see my nakedness, I'm like, that's some good stuff. And that's remarkable. It's not that I don't also see the things that most people would perceive as flaws, but I don't care about any of that. I care about the beauty I see, and I care about the attention I want to give to myself. So this is a group effort. This is a group effort. It's you and it's your connections with other folks. I will say you can't rely upon the connections of the other folks 100%. Because there are going to be people that you want attention from in whatever way, and they don't want to give it. That's a boundary, and that has to be respected. And there are going to be people, there are so many people that want to give you the attention that you need. And you have to be able to ask for it and receive it. Some of the hardest work of being a human, I think. For me, at least. Today is day 153 of experiments. And the experiment today is about softening the ground, becoming more permeable in our ability to receive attention. I'm going to put the link, I'll put the description of the exercise step by step in the description of the video. And basically think of an area that you would really like some attention and that you've had difficulty receiving and asking for that attention. Consider what's up with that and do it lightly. Please, please, please do it lightly. This is not the time to activate yourself and then spin out into a place that is really not nice. But consider some of the factors that have contributed to that. If you start to activate, back off. Back off. Because this also is something that you can like dip in, dip out. You can give yourself a little bite. You don't have to eat the whole meal right now. That is not necessary. And get your supports around you, because this can be really intense work. So a little bit, do a little bit. If you start to feel activated, back off. You can come back to it later. It doesn't all have to happen in this one particular experiment. We're setting the ground for this in a way. And what's something that you can do to start softening the ground so you can receive this attention? And also, what's something that you can do to get closer to asking for this attention? So that's the thing. How can you receive it? How can you ask for it? And also, how can you give it to yourself, right? Because that is the thing I think that you can really focus on, is how do you give that attention to yourself? Please do not do this thing which I see so commonly and I hear so commonly in the world, of thinking that because you ask for something, it devalues it. That you do it yourself, it devalues it. Fuck that. Fuck that. That is bullshit. That's a trippy game that's being played on all of us. We need to attend to ourselves, and we need to ask for attendance. It's a both and, folks. So if you start getting into your head hole that there's somewhat less, like it's less potent, you attending to yourself, I would check yourself on that. What's your assumptions around that? And I don't believe it's true. I believe that the potency is all over the place. And it's how we relate to it. That's the important thing. Do not denigrate your own beautiful work. Please. Okay. So that is finding, is there something? So the something that I did around my body was I started to do a conscious practice where I would look in the mirror. This is in 2012, and I would kind of not like what I was seeing, and I would I would encourage myself to appreciate something about my form. And it was really hard, and I did it consistently, because remember, that's the other thing. This work needs consistency. So I would consistently come back to it and appreciate myself. And so I got to the point where I felt so much better about my body. And it was true. It took a relationship. And I don't mean a romantic sexual relationship. It took a connection with another human being to help me. Because please remember, the trauma that we've all experienced happened in relationship. So you do need relationship to help attend to it, to give attention to it, to help heal it, support it. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you weak or needy or in some way less than, because you also need the support of others. That's real. That's human. It's this culture that has told us something else. Don't listen to that. It's real that it's a both and. You do the work yourself. You do the work with others. You do the work yourself. You do the work with others. You do the work yourself. You do the work with others. That's how we grow, build capacity, how we heal. Beloved humans. If you are liking this adventure with me, my shenanigans, please consider hitting the subscribe button. That's an attention that I want from you. Hit the subscribe button. If you want to ring the bell to get notification of uploads, that's great. If you're seeing this on YouTube, please consider joining my Patreon and become a patron of me. That's a piece of attention that I would love. It starts at $5 a month. I think it's a great deal. You can also go up in tiers depending on what you want. But join me on this adventure of daily experiments and of daily creation and looking at themes each week that, for me, help me build my capacity to be an active, dynamic, alive human being. Thank you so much for your attention. right? So this is that. Thank you for your attention. Please, if you do this experiment, even consider this experiment, today's experiment, be so gentle to yourself. Be loving to yourself. It's taken me to Saturday to really start looking at this kind of stuff. You know, that's how loaded this attention stuff can be. And also, last note, I know that I have not focused so much on paying attention as in like focus, as in to become more productive, because I kind of don't give a fuck about that in a way. And also because I think it needs its own time. And maybe I put it under the guise of focus. I think that that's maybe a good thing. Have lovely days. It's the weekend at this particular point in time. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm so grateful to be doing this process and to share it with you. We do this thing together. We do this thing